About 6 years ago, I stumbled across an article from Harvard Business Review that honestly changed the way I view leadership. And in today's episode, I want to walk you through some of the lessons from that article and what I think it can teach us about why, in my opinion, so many people struggle when they make the jump from individual contributor to people manager. But before we get to that, quick introduction for myself. My name is Matt Gjertsen. I'm the founder of Better Everyday Studios. And in these solo episodes of the Leadership Launchpad, I'm going to walk you through some of the lessons that I have learned from my time leading people at places like the US Air Force and SpaceX, and try to instill some of these lessons that they really worked for me, and hopefully they can help you along your journey to being a better leader as well. Okay, so the article that I am talking about is an article called Leadership That Gets Results by Daniel Goleman, and it's actually 24 years old. The thing that I love so much about this article is that it is based on a massive body of research where they looked at over 4,000 corporate leaders with the goal of identifying a series of leadership traits that could help define, what gets results in the workplace. And they came up with 6 different leadership styles. It was coaching, pace setting, democratic, affiliative, authoritative, and coercive. Now, coaching you can pretty much expect. This is a coaching leadership style, is a leader who works with people, tries to improve them, focuses a lot on making other people better. A pace setting leader is someone who kind of leads from the front, leads by example, really shows people how it's done. They get in there, they see themselves as kind of the one that knows how to do things best, and they want to teach everybody else and show them how to do it, kind of learn by doing kind of thing. A democratic leader, they're really focused on consensus among a group. So they might have when they have to make a decision, they might bring a bunch of people into a room, and they really want to get everybody's opinion to find some kind of consensus going forward. An affiliative leadership style will really focus on the interpersonal relationships within a group first and foremost. They want to make sure everybody feels good and safe and calm on the team. Authoritative is kind of what you would expect from, like what you expect from some of the most well-known leaders. These are leaders that set a vision and say, we're going after that vision. And then a coercive leader, now that's kind of a negative term, but that's the term that they used. A coercive leader is a leader that just like kind of says they demand compliance. It's my way or the highway. This is the way things get done. I think it's the prototypical like military leader, like I order you to do those things. Even though from my time in the military, very few leaders in the military actually lead that way. It just isn't how it works. So those are the 6 leadership styles. But what I think is really interesting is that the article came with an assessment that you could take of your own leadership style. A whole series of questions where it says, which are your strengths and your weaknesses. And to be clear, they didn't say that any one leadership style was best or that any particular person is a type of leader. These are all different leadership styles that can all work. It just depends on the situation. Some of them are better and worse in the long term, but what you want to do as a leader is kind of develop all of these as tools in your toolbox. So when it's the right situation, you can pull out the right kind of leadership style, whether it's the situation or the individual that you're dealing with. So I took the assessment, and I became a pace setter. That's what it said. I was the strongest in pace setting, and I thought that was great because it says leads by example and is working the hardest, comes in first, leaves last, that kind of thing. But then since this was a survey of how this impacts results over the long term, pace setting was actually the second worst leadership style you could have. There were only 2 leadership styles that would have a negative impact on the team over the long term, and they were pace setting and coercion. And that really took me back. That was the moment where it was kind of just like this, oh shit moment, because I was really proud. I was excited, like, oh, pace setting. It seems like all these great things. And then to know that that was one of the 2 styles that, at least over the long term, if applied consistently, would have a negative impact on the team. And at first that might sound kind of weird, but you think about it for more than a few seconds and you get to understand why. Being the one who always is striving to work the hardest. It means you're setting an example that kind of nobody else can fulfill. You see yourself as the pinnacle, the tip of the spear. It's you're becoming a leader, but it's still all about you, right? You're taking over other people's work because they're not quite good as you. And if it goes on too long, it can easily become micromanaging, and meaning you're telling everybody exactly the steps you want them to take and not allowing them any initiative on their own. Now, don't get me wrong. As I said earlier, all of these leadership styles have their place, and pace setting has its place because sometimes you do know what's right, or sometimes you just need to get things done. There's nothing better than a leader who periodically, like they jump in and they get in the trenches, they get dirty, they get things done right alongside their team. But if you're doing that again and again, consistently over time, that's your go to play of you don't let them make the mistake. You don't let them figure it out themselves. You just tell them what to do. Then over time, they're going to not think you trust them. The team's not going to, if you don't let them have any initiative, then they're not going to take any initiative. And it can kind of be a reinforcing cycle where you don't give them any rope, so they don't take any rope. You don't give them any responsibility, so they don't take any responsibility. Next thing you know, you're complaining about the fact that they don't, take any responsibility or take any initiative. And it all loops back to this idea that you were the pace setter. And when and I taught this a lot at companies that I've worked at. I've done this survey with a lot of folks. And honestly, I think pace setting is the leadership style that gets most new managers in trouble. And the reason is that when you get promoted, especially that first promotion, it's because of the things you did as an individual contributor. It's because of the way you were able to solve problems, you were able to get things done, you were the best person on the team. And so it was all about you as an individual contributor. And then you become a people manager, and nobody tells you, hey, it's not about you anymore, it's about other people. It's about getting everybody else to do more work. It's about the work that the team can do, not the work that you can do. And chances are, the tricky thing is that because you were the one promoted, chances are you were the highest performer. And so it makes sense that you, at least right now, maybe do know what's right. Maybe you do know the fastest way to get things done. Maybe you could do that task faster. But again, that's not your job anymore. Your job is no longer to be the one who gets all the tasks done. Your job is to help other people get those tasks done. And very often that doesn't mean stepping in and showing them click by click how to do it, or step by step how to do it. Very often that means stepping back and letting them figure it out for themselves. Or it means stepping back and maybe like connecting a couple people on the team to see if they can help each other. Right? It's about stepping back, not trying to play the typical role that you've possibly been playing for years in your career of being the person who's out in front doing things every day. Because the other thing that you can do is, if you continue to do that, almost by definition, the fact that you were promoted almost by definition means other people can't keep up with you on just a raw skill, like task for task kind of judgment, because you were the one that got promoted. You were probably the best one. And so if you're just setting that expectation, expecting other people to keep up, well, they're not going to be able to keep up. Right? That's just not how it's going to work, at least not for a while, not until they get developed, and you have to put in the work to develop them. But at least initially, you're going to be setting standards that they can't uphold. And then that's just another way of leading to burnout and making people, just not want to try as hard. So to me, I think that's the big thing, that the big takeaway that I had is I looked at this and said, oh, wow. Okay, so if I keep doing this, then that's going to be bad. So I need to change. And so very quickly, I tried to look at all of the situation that I was in of working with people, and just I tried to stop myself. Every situation that I was in where somebody was asking me a question, or where there was the potential for me to provide an answer, I just kind of hesitate a little bit. I just wait, and maybe it's not my job to have all the answers, right? And I think that's the shift that you need to make when you go from being an individual contributor to a people manager. The biggest shift you need to make is that it's not on you to have every answer. It's on you to create a situation where the best answers rise up, to create a situation where your team has the resources, has the communication skills, has the trust so that they can debate things out and the best answer arises. It's not your job to pull that best answer out of your head. And it's this pace setting leadership style that keeps people in that wrong mindset, in my opinion. So if you are in this position, if you're a new people leader, you're getting ready to become a people leader, that would be my advice to you, is think about something. And I'll link to this article in the notes below so that you can check it out yourself. So I think it's a big shift that you can make of how can I try to pull some of these other levers, use some of these other tools in my toolbox of different leadership styles, rather than always relying on pace setter. So I hope that helps you. Hope it resonates with you. I'm really excited to start doing these solo episodes. These should be coming out about once a week as well. So hopefully we'll now be having 2 episodes of the Leadership Launchpad every single week to try to bring you not just experts and guests and authors, all this great information from out there, but I'm trying to impart some of the lessons that I've learned as well, and honestly the things that I wish I had known. Maybe they won't all resonate, maybe they won't all work for you, but these are at least the things that worked for me. So before you go, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are already subscribed, then I do humbly ask that you share this episode with at least one person, because that is how we grow. And I will see you next time on the Leadership Launchpad. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoy the discussion as much as I did. If you want to see more discussions like this, then make sure to check out some of the videos right over there. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps improve our reach and gives us the fuel we need to bring you more of these great conversations. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we will see you next time on the Making Better podcast.